one of many info stations that we've been putting together. My name is Gita Shalig. I'm the Employer Relations Strategist from the Career Development Center. And today we have the Vancouver Region Educational Services team. They will be sharing information about their organization and opportunities that are available for students and also for full-time opportunities. And I think there's volunteer opportunities as well. So while we are waiting for some folks to get online still, just want to let you know you're welcome to leave your cameras on, but I just ask that during the presentation, if you could keep your microphones off, that would be great. As Leila mentioned, we will be recording this session. So please be mindful of that. And during the presentation, we're going to hold off on Q&A till the end. If you have questions that you would like, you're free to put it into the chat and we'll have Leila moderate the questions during the Q&A. So welcome, and I hope you find this informative. Before we get started into the details, I want to just acknowledge that at KPU, we live, work, and study in a region that overlaps with the unceded traditional and ancestral First Nations territories of the Musqueam, Katzie, Semiahmoo, Tsawwassen, Kaikwet, and Coquitlam, and with the lands of the Kwantlen First Nation, which gifted its name to our university. The word Kwantlen means tireless runner, and it's reflected in the university's motto of through tireless effort, knowledge, and understanding. In the cause of reconciliation, we recognize our commitment to address and reduce ongoing systemic colonialism, oppression, and racism that Indigenous peoples continue to experience. So thank you for attending our session. So just a quick rundown. Our session will run from 12 to 9. We had a little bit of a late start. We'll just start off with some, just welcoming everybody, doing some introductions. And then I'll pass it on to the VRES team, and they will give you some information about their company, an overview of their structure, their culture. As I mentioned earlier, there are some volunteer opportunities they'll discuss. They do have some co-op roles as well. They'll talk a little bit about what's a successful application process, and then we open it up for Q&A, and you can ask all your questions then, and then we'll wrap it up. So as I mentioned, we do have some co-op positions that have been posted in our Career Connection. If you have not seen them, these are the positions. There's 5 roles they're hiring for this fall. Tatiani will put in the chat a link to Career Connection. You can log in quickly and have a look at them during the session, and then that way, if you have questions, you can bring them up at the end. So without any further ado, what I'm going to do is pass it on and introduce the Vancouver Region Educational Services team. So from VRES, we have Bella He and Ziena Lee. They are both the Human Resources Coordinators for the team. On the screen, you'll also see their email address. I know Bella and Ziena are on the call, and I'm going to pass the screen sharing off to Ziena, who will share some PowerPoint slides and walk you through the information. So I'll stop sharing.
All right, perfect. Everybody can see my screen? Okay, perfect. Okay, we can just jump right into it then. Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're just gonna give you guys a brief overview of our company and some of the roles that we're offering. So just a quick rundown of what we're going to be going through. So we're going to go over an introduction, a little bit of background about our company, some skills that you guys might gain, our roles that are open right now, our culture expectations, and kind of the next steps of the application process. We're going to have a fun little quiz at the end and a Q&A like Gita mentioned. All right, so yeah, hi, my name is Ziena. I'm an HR coordinator at VRES.
So hi everyone, my name is Bella. I'm the HR coordinator and also the office manager at the VRES. Just thank you so much for KPU for offering this amazing platform for us to connect with all of the KPU students. I'm really excited to be here along with Sienna to guide you through about what is VRES and what we can bring to the KPU community.
Okay, perfect. So to start with, let's talk a little bit about who we are. So VRES is a registered nonprofit organization in Richmond, BC. It's only a few minutes away from your Richmond campus, so it's very close. And our core mission is very simple. It's just to provide students in the Vancouver region and beyond with free, affordable, and educational resources in a safe, supportive, and inclusive environment. Our vision is to be a leading provider of high quality learning programs and a lot of educational resources in the Vancouver region. So, whether that looks like guiding elementary students through hands on STEAM or Lego robotics, or doing workshops like with seniors learning AI literacy, we like to craft learning experiences that reflect the dynamic communities that we are. So, our connection to KPU lies across a couple of factors. So, like I mentioned, not only is our office a few minutes drive from your Richmond KPU campus, we also run events and programs throughout a lot of different cities. So, we've done stuff in Surrey, multiple locations, Vancouver, Burnaby, Coquitlam, and so on. And this kind of aligns perfectly with you guys because KPU also has a couple different campuses in Richmond, Surrey, and Langley. So it's pretty open to flexibility in terms of your location. And we also have a rapidly growing virtual infrastructure, like, for example, these virtual info sessions that we're hosting right now, that allow students from KPU to spearhead a kind of variety of different areas that they might be interested in. So this kind of provides a direct avenue for you guys to take the hands-on skills that you've been learning in the classroom and apply them to the relevant roles in your department at VRES. A little bit of background and history about our company. VRES, our specific Vancouver branch, started pretty recently in September 2025, but our overall company, U Plus, started in 2016 in Toronto, where most of our other branches are actually located. So across all branches, including Toronto and other places in Canada, we have around 155 staff just for the 2026 summer team and over 650 staff in total, which is a pretty big team. And our Vancouver volunteer team specifically, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, has logged over 400 hours total, and that is a massive footprint of local service. So if this is something that you're kind of looking to get a lot more relevant experience in your degree, or maybe looking to volunteer and just help out your community in a nonprofit organization, VRES is a great place to make that happen.
All right. Thank you so much for Sienna sharing all of our mission, our values, and also give you guys a bit like introduction about what VRES is providing for our community. So next up, I will going into what you can learn from this, like from working or volunteer with us. So first, I would go over what skills you can develop by volunteering. So first, to be honest, the many organizations will ask you to start volunteer so that you can just put a logo on your resume. However, at VRES, we truly care about your potential in your volunteer work. So through our structured volunteer success program, you are not just participating. You would gain experiences in developing your leaderships. So for example, leading the volunteers, leading your peer volunteers, or running different types of events. We have a variety of events and initiatives. So meaning that you always have the flexibility to choose whichever initiatives that match your passion, and you can take your full ownership of them. So since most of our staff and the volunteers, they are between 15 to 30 years old, as you may tell, we are pretty young. So we definitely invest in your group, offering clear pathway to promotions and also the professional development. So here's specifically what you can gain by developing, or what you can develop with us if you working at the VRES. So first of all is the in-demand professional skills. So whether you are an educational major, you're looking for class hours for the practicums, or maybe you're a business student wanting to pitch the corporate and sponsors, or maybe you are a computer science students, want to look into more web architecture experiences, we always place you in the roles where you have those experiences and those passion. So you would gain practical proficiency in public relations, curriculum design, data analysis, or social media management. You are taking the initiative of the project and working closely with the team, and then working in the relevant role, basically in the while you're working at the VRES. So, secondly, you can grow your networking and also gain the mentorship at VRES. So, you're not just working alone. You would have the direct access to the nonprofit directors and also some other partners from the relevant industry. They are serving as your mentors, and you'll receive the real actionable feedback to hone your professional instinct. So, on top of that, you also gain access to internal workshops to learn skills that might fall outside of your scope. For example, as the VRES member, you can join internal professional development classes. We run weekly workshops on a variety of topics, like how to use different digital platforms like Canvas, AI literacy, or Google advertising, other financial literacy, or any other topics of your interest. Last but not least is our sense of community and also the supportive culture at the VRES. So we always prioritize the well-being and also like the personal development of our team members. We believe that spending time together outside of the work that will strengthen our relationships and in turn helps to build a more connecting, so building more connection within the team. For example, we just organized the team bonding activities. So we have the bicycling at the Stanley Park. All of the Also Sienna was there at the team bonding event. So we have a really great time at the Stanley Park. So yeah, because many of our team members are local, we are really a tight knit team that enjoys staying connected with each other. And then we can just develop professionally and also personally.
Okay, perfect. Now let's talk a little bit more about how you can join us. So like I mentioned before, we do have two different pathways that you can join us through. So we have our university co-op, which I believe most of you are probably here for, but we also have our volunteer pathway. So university co-op is just for anyone looking to fulfill their university co-op requirements, and we're currently hiring for the fall 2026. And you can check out, like Gita mentioned, all of our job postings on KPU's job board. So here's a list of our active roles that we're recruiting for: HR coordinator, youth advisor, marketing coordinator, grant writer, and volunteer coordinator. And then for volunteer pathways, they're very flexible, ongoing roles that kind of fit alongside your semester. So they're perfect for if you're looking to gain experience in it, but you don't want to commit the same amount of time, then you can kind of just pick and choose whatever events pique your interest or you think that would align really well with your experience. Um, so some stuff that our volunteers have been helping us with right now is we do like a robotics camp, or you can help out with the marketing team, or just helping out with various events. Like we had a Spanish Latin festival that we attended, and we had volunteers attending that. And some of the roles we have open for that is like a summer camp assistant, marketing assistant, data analysis assistant, teaching, and web design assistant. And then just a note that when you are applying for the university co-op, we do have some requirements. So you must be a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or protected refugee, and you must be between the ages of 15 to 30. And before the start of your role, we do require a CPRC certification and a vulnerable safety check. Okay, next I'll be going to little into some of the specifics of the roles. So for our HR coordinator role, a lot of what you could be doing is a lot of the people side of things. So for example, that could look like during the hiring cycle, we would do all the recruiting, the screening resumes, interviewing people, kind of making those decisions, and then also representing VRES at things like university info sessions like right now, or going to career fairs, reaching out to universities to host these kind of things. And then on the back end, you'd be doing things more like managing timesheets and hours and anything really involving the people or our staff. Next, for our youth advisor role, so like I mentioned, we do have a volunteer success program, which we do have a lot of youth in, but we also do run a lot of youth workshops separate from our kids camps. So our youth workshops are targeted more towards teens, and we've done stuff like guitar workshops, mental health workshops, and we also have like an upcoming youth diversity day. So what our youth advisor would be doing is basically designing and facilitating a lot of these educational workshops and programs and events, and then they'd be directly mentoring these young volunteers or these teens attending our workshops to support their professional development. So they would handle a lot of the outreach to the different high schools and community centers to get registrations. They would handle, giving them assignments and scheduling them and all that sort of stuff involving these teens. Next is our marketing coordinator role. So this role is pretty self-explanatory, but basically they just do all the marketing for us. So that could look like doing the graphic design, graphics for anything like logos or our social media posts or newsletters for tools like Canva. It also involves a lot of optimizing our Google ads and being able to analyze our performance metrics to make sure and see what platforms are working and what's not. So a lot of our marketing team also manages a bunch of different platforms. So we have like TikTok, Rednote, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Eventbrite, and like so many more. So basically the marketing team just splits up the different platforms to manage and then and post on those. A lot of our marketing team also does like, if we do, a lot of our team is in charge of events. So when we want like flyers or social media posts made, we just put in a request to our marketing team and they'll make that for us. Finally, our marketing team also does a lot of supporting in our actual camps. So they'll go to events or camps and they'll take a lot of the video and content to make pictures. And they'll also just help support the running of the camps overall. Next is our grant writer position. So this basically involves kind of anything involving our funding, our grants, and corporate sponsorships. So for example, identifying opportunities that we could apply for, like any grants, kind of researching what goes into that, our application process, kind of creating like a detailed tracking system for like deadlines and drafting proposals, budgets, impact statements, that sort of thing. And then also collecting a lot of the data and making sure that our application for grants and sponsorships is supported by that data. And finally, our last role is for volunteer coordinator. So this role, again, like I mentioned, for our volunteer success program, this kind of involves just anything involving volunteers. So from the beginning of a volunteer hiring life cycle, like recruiting them, interviewing them, onboarding them, training them, reaching out to them from high schools or community service organizations. So what this could look like is if you go to any events that we require volunteers, you would just be attending and supervising them. On the back end, they might be scheduling the volunteer schedules, giving them assignments, attendance tracking, or just overall communicating with them. They'd also just provide like general mentorship and guidance for orientation as well. So that is all for the roles, and I'll pass it back to Bella.
Thank you so much, Sienna, for walking us through the responsibilities looks like for every roles that we are hiring in the fall. So let's now talk about some culture. So the culture at VRES and what we are expecting from you, and then just as importantly, what you can expect from us. So first of all, let's talk about the time commitment. So for all the co-op students, our minimum commitment is 8 months. So that means you are working like 35 and also 35 to 40 hours per week, or basically a full-time job workload, which should be doable since you are not taking any classes during your co-op. While we have this overall goal, our department managers, they are flexible to rearrange your schedule based on your personal commitment or your personal schedule. So you might wonder how we keep the team function or organized. If we're running a big team, if we have the team that is over like 20 and 30 people in the summer, that is really simple. All we do is just host a weekly meeting to keep all of us synchronized. So we keep our operations seamless just through the briefly and also weekly alignment checkpoints. So rather than having a long, exhausting meetings, they would just have an hour long the meeting. So we would have the weekly debrief meeting to with the entire team. We just to debrief, and the goal is to identify and unlock the roadblocks. And also aligned to track the timelines for the task, for the projects, and to celebrate the weekly wins to keep everyone energy up for the entire team. So like I mentioned in the front of the info session, we really value every team members at the VRES. So we uphold an academic first policy. So we acknowledge your responsibilities as a student. Midterms happens, finals getting stressful, and also assignments they getting piled up. However, we pride ourselves on offering a culture that is flexible, and we will provide support as much as possible. So if you found your workload starting to pile up, and or you're going through a really challenging time that kind of start affecting your ability to work, the most important thing or all you have to do is just communicate with your team leader. We can adjust your priorities or deliverables as needed, because we have a really supportive team culture where other colleagues will always be there and to step in to help take care of the projects and to keep them moving. So if anyone at the team need extra support, because our goal is to reduce your stress, not to add anything on your shoulder. So again, our culture is rooted in equality, sustainability, and also open communication. We really want you to feel psychologically safe to share your ideas, taking initiatives. Don't be afraid to making mistakes and learn from those mistakes. We at the VRES, we always view the mistakes as the opportunities for growth, and we hope those experiences would help you guide you to success at the VRES. So next, I will pass along back to Sienna. She will tell us how to apply to the VRES.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Bella. So yeah, if you're wondering just kind of the next steps of what application would look like. So like I said, the jobs are posted on the KPU job board, but if you also want to go directly to our website at vancouvereducation.org, or you can just search up Vancouver Region Educational Services, and the first link will pop up. And you can just find us on like the Join Us tab, and it's just a simple fill out online interest form. You upload your resume and you select your preferred department. And the deadline for the upcoming university co-op cycle is August 9th. Secondly, if your application does align, we will reach out for an in-person interview. And if that interview is passed, you will then have a quick follow-up interview with our Toronto headquarters, which will be virtual. And these aren't like very high stress technical interviews. They're just a very simple two-way conversation to make sure that your personal goals align with our team as well. And then finally, for our third step, if we do accept you for the job, you'll be formally assigned to your department team, and we'll kick things off with the social. And we have like Google Classroom training modules to make sure that you guys are fully trained. And finally, our application will close, like I mentioned, on August 9th for University Co-op for fall 2026, which starts in September. And if accepted, you should be invited for interviews within 2 weeks, and final hiring decisions are made within 3 weeks total. And we do have a little QR code. So if you guys want to scan it, the left one just goes directly to the University Co-op application website. And then the right one is just if you want to browse our website, you guys can go ahead and do that. I'll give you guys like a few seconds if you guys want to take a picture or scan it right now. Okay, I'll move on. Let me know if anyone didn't catch the QR code, and we'll be moving on to the next slide, but we'll also go back to it later, so no worries. Okay, so next we have a fun little Kahoot style quiz. I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen and then I'll share to the Lookit. So just give me a few moments to get this set up. And then, okay, so we have a little Kahoot style quiz. So you guys can scan the QR code here, or you can just go to, you can just type in Lookit and then type in the game ID. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to join the lobby and then we can get started. Okay, seems like that's everyone who wanted to join the Lookit for now. If you have any troubles joining it, you guys can just type in the chat, or I'll give you, and then I'll give you guys like 30 more seconds. Join. Yay, everyone got it right. Ooh, GG in first place. Very fast reaction time. there's 2 correct answers for this. So we have our website and we also have the KPU chalkboard. Yes, that's correct. Summer camp assistant. Yes, that's also correct. 8 months is our minimum co-op term length, so we don't do 4-month terms. No in first place. Yes, that is correct. So unfortunately, you cannot be an international student to work here. Yeah, so this is a confusing one. You're supposed to get CPR C and a vulnerable safety check. C because it's for certifying with kids, and which we will be working with. Yeah, so remember our applications close August 9th for university co-op. Ooh, TC in first place now. Yes, 15 to 30 is correct. So you probably won't be 15, but under 30 is for our university co-op age. And last question. So we have taught digital platforms like Canva, Figma, but we do like votings for whatever piques your interest. Third place. Congratulations to Sia for winning first place. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to go back to the slides. And show it again. And thank you guys so much for participating in that Bookit. I know there was a lot of talking, so it might be a little bit boring, but hopefully that made it a little bit more interesting.
That was great. We need like a applause sound at the end of that. That was really great. Thank you, Sienna and Bella. That was really informative. I really enjoyed the game at the end to reinforce some of that information. What we're going to do now is just open up the Q&A. I'll pass it to Leila to see if there's anything in the chat. And while we're waiting for her to do that, everyone that is on the call, please feel free to turn on your mics and your cameras for sure. If you'd like to ask a question, you can raise your hand and turn on your mic and ask, or put it in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah, I really like the information about each of the opportunities that you both shared. It was really nice to hear that the organization was very flexible, and you had adjustable workloads to um, help students who are prioritizing their academics as well. Because even though our co-op students do work full time and we encourage them not to take other courses, there is still work involved in that co-op term. They still have to write reports to their co-op faculty instructors. So that's nice to know there's flexibility in the schedules. Yeah. Yeah, Liel, I'm gonna pass it on to you to see if there's any questions in the chat.
Yeah, hi, Gita. Right now we don't have anything in the chat at this time, but if anyone, yeah, as Gita has said, if anyone has questions about anything that was discussed during today's presentation, whether you have questions about job positions and hiring or questions about the organization in general, please feel free to either raise your hand or to type it in the chat. We'll give it a couple of minutes to see if anyone is just maybe gathering themselves, and then we'll go from there. But as soon as we see someone raise their hand or put something in the chat, we'll get started.
Okay, great. Actually, I have a question. Um, I was going through the postings on our Career Connection, and I did notice actually that the end date was listed as August 18th. So I have updated them all to end August 9th. So I know that there's been a lot of activity of students viewing those opportunities. In the requirements, you do say you need the CPR certification. Now, what if you don't have it, but you're willing to get it before starting? Is there room for?
Oh yeah, that I can answer that. So
Sure.
I actually, when I started working, I didn't have it either. I didn't have the vulnerable safety check, and I also didn't have the CPRC. But again, we're very flexible about how you get it. So you can schedule it to get it beforehand, or even, I mean, ideally not after you start working, because sometimes we'll start working with kids right away. But ideally as soon as possible. So we're very flexible. Just get it as soon as possible. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great to know. I think because it shows in the posting that you need to have it. So it's nice to know that they can work on getting it before their start date if they don't have it now. So that's great. And what are the ages of the students that a co-op student would work with? Like what are the
Okay.
ages?
So for our kids camp, we typically have kids ages 5 to 11, but you don't have to work with our kids camp. Like I think there's only probably a few camp counselors on our team who regularly work with the kids. The rest of us, if you enjoy working with kids, then you can go ahead and work with kids. But if you don't, like personally, I've never worked with in the kids camp myself because I'm in HR. So depending on your role, you might not work with them. You might work with them regularly. It's up to you. But if you do some other stuff like our workshops, you could be working with youth, teens, ages 12 to 18. We've done stuff with seniors, with AI literacy. So honestly, it's all up to you. It's very flexible, depending on whether or not you like working with those age groups.
Okay, great. I mean, one of the reasons there are no questions is maybe that you did such an excellent job sharing information about it. It's very thorough, very detailed, so appreciate that.
If there's any ever any questions in the future, you can always contact us on our like social media, which I think I'm screen sharing right now, or again our email, which Gita provided. Yeah, really, you could just look up on our website and contact us through there too. It's very easy access.
That's great. That's great. Maybe plunking the email address again into the chat would be good.
Yeah.
So for anybody on the call, they can just copy and paste the email address. I think one question I have is really about your location. You did say you were located in Richmond. Is it transit accessible for people who maybe don't have vehicles? Is it easy to get to?
Yeah, it's very accessible. A lot of our current staff just transit by bus. We're right by the CF Richmond Center, if you guys know where that is. So there's a SkyTrain station right there, and it's like 3 or 5 minute walk.
Okay, great. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions in the call? Even if it's team members from the CDC that support students, if you have any questions you think students might have about these opportunities, feel free to throw that in the chat or ask out using your mic. I know we have one of our coaches on the call, and she works very closely with students, so sometimes she may have a different lens, and that's always helpful.
I do see a question from our career coach Tessie in the chat asking, do you support students who are applying for PDP, and do you write reference letters for volunteers?
Great question.
Oh, I can take that question. So I don't think right now we have any programs, career programs for those specific students, but we do offer the reference students for the volunteers up on request. Also, if the volunteers, they completed over 120 volunteer hours with us, they can get an officially issue certificates by the government. So the certificate is pretty useful in different types of like situation. They can use it to apply for the scholarship or apprenticeship or the future job application as well. I hope that answers your question.
That's a great question. Yeah, that's great. She says yes, thank you. And so that's actually really interesting. I didn't know that there was a specific certification that students could get when they volunteer that they could use for applications for scholarships and stuff. So that's actually pretty handy. Okay. It doesn't look like we have any more questions. Of course, if there are any, as you mentioned, Sienna and Bella, folks could just email hr@vancouvereducation.org. The email address is in the chat. With that, I think we can sort of wrap it up. I really appreciate you both coming out and sharing this information. I appreciate the 5 co-op positions that you have posted. We will definitely be promoting it more to our students and hope that you have some great applications from KPU. And I do believe you are attending our KICS, our Community Impact Careers Showcase this fall, October 6th, and you will have a booth there. So if students miss out on this session, they can definitely come and see you in person at the fall event.
Yeah, totally. We're looking forward to be attending the Community Impact Fair.
Great. I think with that, Leila and Tatiana, do we have anything else that we need to address, or can we just close up the presentation?
Nothing on my end. Thank you so much, you guys, for presenting on your organization. It was great to have you here, and I think it was really helpful for students to learn a bit about you guys. So appreciate your participation here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. So with that, I think, yeah, we will call it a great day and a great session. Thank you to you both, Bella and Sienna, and wishing everybody a good luck in their submissions for these co-op opportunities, or if they go for volunteer opportunities with your organization. So thanks again to the Vancouver Education team, Vancouver Education Services team. And yeah.
I'm so sorry, Gita. Before we wrap up the info session, may I ask if we can take a picture of all of us here so that we can share our lovely info session onto the social media platform? Yeah, so if anyone wants to be on the shot, you can turn on the camera. If you're not feeling comfortable, you can just keep your camera off. It's totally fine. So yeah, I would take just a screenshot of the screen.
Okay.
So whenever we're ready. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. All right, perfect. Thank you so much for the cooperation. I really appreciate that the KPU, you guys offering such an amazing platform for us to bridge the connection between VRES and also the KPU students. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to you both. Thanks to everybody from the CDC for attending and all the students. Yeah, hope you have a wonderful Thursday. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.